Thanks for being here. We have members from our AdvancED district review team, and I appreciate you being here, Heather and Tim. Appreciate you guys making arrangements for being here this afternoon. It's been a long, busy week, and it's only Wednesday, so we'll get through it. So I'm going to turn it over to David and his team, who is here with our review expert report.
Thank you very much. I was nestled in the back, and I hate to speak to the back of everybody, so I decided to come to the front, and a good principal tactic is you never turn your back on the crowd. So I feel like I'm safe here because I can see everybody, and I could have done it back there, but I believe I could do it better if here at least you can watch. I don't see anybody except our team that has a coat on, so I'm going to leave my coat off. I have one, you can see it's over there. I'm just not wearing it today. It's our pleasure to be here. The rules of engagement of these teams would be 2 members are from out of state, and the rest of the team would be in-state. So we do have 1 from Alabama, you've got 1 from Louisiana, and you've got 3 from Indiana. And so I'm going to call on them to introduce themselves, and then I'll introduce myself to you. You may have heard it before, but there are a few new faces here. So we'll start over here with Jim and just walk down the aisle there, and they're also going to tell you about something that struck them as rememberable from your district. This is our team.
All right. I'm Jim White. I'm the superintendent of Bremen Public Schools, just an hour and a half to your west. I tell you, I enjoyed watching the instruction in the elementary. It was absolutely fantastic, and I'm blown away by the state of your facilities. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm Jill Warner. I'm the Global Learning and World Languages Specialist with the Indiana Department of Education. And I was amazed at the human capital that is being developed at the various levels here in your schools. Watching the family meeting or the morning meeting at the middle school and seeing the kids and what they're capable of and what they talk about in their discussions in their various team environments was a remarkable thing. So thank you for the opportunity.
I'm David Beaver, the principal at South Central Junior Senior High School in Elizabeth, Indiana, down by New Albany. I want to first of all thank you for your hospitality and everything that you've given to us during our stay. I was really impressed with the high school and the pathways that you're using to help students not only advance into college areas but also into careers, and was really impressed with what you're doing there, so thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Kim Garrett, and I'm from Anniston, Alabama, but I'm homegrown here in Dayton, Ohio, right down the road. I am so excited that I had this opportunity to come to visit your wonderful, wonderful community and school. I, too, had an opportunity to visit the high school. I was so impressed with young people who were being prepared for the future jobs. Seeing them interact and collaborate and take ownership of their learning and watching teachers do more facilitating, I was extremely impressed with that. But I wanted to mention, you had one teacher over there, and I spoke with you about that, Matt, who I felt like I wanted to be back in school just so I could talk to that teacher because his relationship with students, and that was Mr. Boyd.
Thank you, team members. My name is David Gillette. I'm the lead evaluator for the team. I'm recently retired as Dean of the College of Education at Louisiana Tech University in North Louisiana. And I, too, am remembering different acts of kindness and hospitality and so forth that you have provided for us. It's quite a thing to bring 5 strangers in that you've never seen before and probably won't see us again because we can't come back to the same place with the next cycle. But to have room and board and food and all of the things that you have provided, we appreciate that. To Lori and Julia for being contact people for technology as well as logistics and so forth, and being a sounding board for questions and things that we would have as we've been talking. I went back and found my notes. We first conversed starting in November, and it's been kind of a conversation with that so long. Thank you, Steve, also for being a host for us and providing what we needed. And to our board members, we have 2 here, but we were able to speak with all 5, 1 by telephone and 4 here on campus, and it's it's always enjoyable to talk to board members and to hear of your passion and how you support the public education here in the county. When we finish this report, which will take about 30 minutes to run through, we need to be on our way, so we don't want to sound snooty or unfriendly after I've said all this about thank you for being friendly. We have miles to go before we sleep, and we've got some that are traveling. We've got a plane that needs to be boarded to get back to Atlanta and so forth. And what you're seeing today is an unofficial rendering of the report. This is the tip of the iceberg. It contains some information that would be in summary form. And so we don't want to entertain questions. We don't want to get involved in the process of the report, because you're going to get the report in about 30 to 35 days, and it'll be about 40 pages of everything you wanted to see about your district. So this is just to let you know some of the findings that we received. So we'll be leaving shortly at the closure of this. So I want to start with a little introduction, and it's really nice to see all these televisions and projectors around, because you don't really have to keep moving around to see something. It's staring you in the face. So you either see a big version or you see a smaller version, but you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. The first I'd like to explain is, what is this word called AdvancED, and why is it written like that? And they paid a fortune for some highly intelligent person to come in and give them the latest of how you can brand yourself. And you know about branding because you do this with your students. But there was a time when SACS was the accrediting agency of the South, and North Central came up through here. The mountain region was over in the Rocky Mountains, and the Pacific region takes care of the areas of Washington and Oregon. California is a state unto itself. There's also some movement to go to the northeast into New England area and have that be part two. But all of those areas did their own little things, and so back about 10 or 12 years ago, they all merged into one mega accrediting agency. And of course, then there had to be a branding of who's going to be the boss, or who's going to be the managing company for all of those, to make sure everybody was doing the same thing. And so the name of that company is AdvancED. It's really Advanced Louisiana. I'm sorry, Advanced Education. It's Advanced Education, which covers all of the states, including Louisiana. So the abbreviation for that is AdvancED, and that's why we have that name. It's kind of the mother company. But in addition to that, all of the areas outside of our nation join together too, and so AdvancED monitors those activities. They go to South America, they go to Latin America, they go to Israel, they go to the Netherlands and other places, Japan. And so truly AdvancED is a global society of monitoring and accreditation of schools, both public and private, or you could add charter and other areas too. So it's the world's largest accrediting agency. The benefit of that is, with the merger of all of these different entities, we use the same standards. We require the same things be done, whether it be Ames, Iowa, or Waterloo, or whether it be Denver, Colorado, or Israel. We use the same standards, only different languages as we move about the world. So we hear a lot about a global society. We hear a lot about global education. And so this is just one more example of a global accrediting agency that covers the earth. And so therefore, you have a little icon down at the bottom of the screen by AdvancED with that particular icon and the earth. So we're thinking about global as well as national accrediting. So what is it that we want to provide for you in the process of our exit review? And the whole purpose of doing accreditation to begin with is to build a capacity within your district and to help you work efficiently. Now, when you build capacity, you don't necessarily hire new people. You use the people that you have, and you look at your job descriptions, and you try as best you can to fit the job descriptions with where you want to be ultimately. And so that's not going to cost you anything if you use present employees to build the capacity of your system. In addition, we want you to work more efficiently and effectively by focusing and having a laser direction on where you want to be. District accreditation is one of those areas. So we want you to be like, you've seen these big battleships going out, and if you're moving from South America to Iceland, there'd probably be a vector or a GPS point, and the rudders would be turned, and the motors would be running, and the rudders would be helping that ship to go in the most efficient way from A to B. And that's what we want you to become, a very efficient system using what we can do to help you build capacity. We don't want you to be like the motorcycles in the Shriners Parade, Christmas parade, where they're going backwards and backwards and backwards. And yes, the parade is moving along, but if you take all of the sideways action and put that into straight, that parade would probably last you about 30 seconds. So we want you to be very efficient with what you do. The report that you're going to get is divided into 3 sections. One is called Impact of Teaching and Learning. One is called Capacity of Leadership, and one is called Use of Resources. And these happen to coincide with what we call domains within the report. The domain 1 is a marriage of standard 3 rather, and 5. So the teaching and the learning and the assessment part comes in there, and then you have capacity of leadership, which would be your standards 1 and 2. And to confuse you all, that's standard domain 2, and then domain 3 is standard 4. So you have to be alert to be able to talk about that. But your use of resources is very important in how you spend your money. Whether you have money for professional travel, for professional development, for computers, for repair of buildings, furniture, teacher salaries, and so forth. So it's very important that you determine how you're going to spend your resources to get the biggest bang for your buck. And every school system needs more money. There is not a school system I'm aware of that has more money than it knows what to do with. So just understand you're all in the same pot. It's how you spend those resources that makes the difference and sets you apart from other areas. So what does our report provide for you? Well, there's a section called Powerful Practices. There's one called Opportunities for Improvement. There's one called Improvement Priorities. Another section is dedicated to your Index of Educational Quality. And finally, there's an accreditation recommendation. So a powerful practice is something that we find within your system that we think you excel in. And AdvancED says, don't give those away, make them earn them. So we have what we feel are some very good, powerful practices for you. We have 2. We don't have any opportunities for improvement, so that's a good thing. And we have 2 improvement priorities for you. An improvement priority comes from the fact that we triangulate our data that we receive, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's an area in which your score was a little lower than we felt it needed to be, and so therefore that is the recommendation that we make to help you be a better, more efficient, capacity-building school district. The Index of Educational Quality is a very important number because it connects your district with the 32,000 other districts and schools that are a member of that big AdvancED global process. So if you add up all of the schools and school districts in the nation and out of the nation, you get 32,000. So you're going to see a number that connects you with those numbers. It's good information. How do you rank? Where is your spot within that average? And finally, we'll make an accreditation recommendation, and you'll see that on the screen. All right, let me talk about triangulation a little bit. You may use that in teacher evaluation. You use it in other things too. Triangulation is the process of using data collection from multiple sources. A triangle has 3 sides. So we equate the collection of data with 3 different places. Prior to our coming, Lori and I call it Lori Incorporated, but everybody that put together those reports, and we heard some very good ones yesterday from our principals and other people about stakeholders and vision and mission and so forth, but we read all that in the comfort of our homes. We did a lot of work before we came here. We knew a lot about you before we came, because when we hit the ground running, then we can make the distance that we need in order to get our report finished. We did finish this morning, up in the morning. Well, we read that report. That's one layer of information. And so you could have said, well, we're the best district in the world, and here's why, A, B, C, D, and we go, oh, well, you know, they said it, stamp, that's okay. But we do come on surface. We come and we look at your schools. We talk with you. We visit all of the different areas that you call your county. And we make an opinion based on what we see and what we hear. So those are the other legs of that triangle. So we read material. We talk all day Monday, our ears hurt. We talk to the central office people, and we talk to the building level leadership. We talked with some teachers on Tuesday. We talked with 40 students over that period of time from about 8 o'clock until noon on yesterday, and teachers aides. We talked to parents and stakeholders. We talked to your moneybags finance man. But we really think we covered the gamut in who we talked with, including our dignitaries up here, and all of them, I might add. That's the second leg of that triangle, what you had to say. And we're constantly talking about questions that we read and things that we needed to know. And finally, we went and we, quote, smelled school. We went to the schools. Not that we evaluated the lunchroom, but we ate lunch there. We talked with principals, we talked with leadership teams, we talked with a variety of people that run those schools. We walked in the classrooms and we evaluated using the Elliott instrument, which is an environmental observation tool. That's the third part. And so you put all of that together, and you end up with the data that forms the report that we're going to provide for you in 30 days when it comes. So here are just some of the stakeholders that we looked at that provided us that second leg of that triangle. And we put together, so you don't think you have 10, 20 schools with a principal or whatever. This is a conglomeration of anybody that is a supervisor and or in the central office and or running the school and so forth. So that's how we ended up with the number 20. I have to always say that. So if we look at domain 1, and again, you remember I said domain 1 was the marriage of the third standard and the fifth standard. You see some bullets there that kind of hit the areas of importance with that domain. I'm not going to read them to you, but you can see them there. That's the largest domain of what we have. So we had some findings from domain 1, and a PP means powerful practice. And we call UDCS because we have to abbreviate. We get tired of writing that whole long name that you have. And it gets cumbersome when you use it twice in a sentence or something like that. So we just abbreviate DCS. And that's you clearly engages families in meaningful ways in their children's education and proactively keeps them informed of their children's learning progress through multiple venues. And that 3.8 means that's the index from which that particular finding comes. We can't write anything that doesn't have a home in an index. So we want to make sure that you're aware of that. So our personal feelings are not in here. The indexes drive the train. But we found in talking and reading and looking and seeing and all of those kinds of things that your parents seem satisfied that you're sending things out to them and helping them be a part of your system and letting them know where their children's progress is ending up. And you go beyond what you just have to do. And so we felt that you scored a very good score there. And when you get the report, you'll find a lot of information where we zeroed in on that and how we came up with that particular conclusion. We moved to index 3.9, and that's an improvement priority, and we feel that you are a little low in that area, and we need to shore that up for more efficient operation within your system. Design and implement a comprehensive district-wide program to provide an adult advocate for each student to support educational experiences. Now, some of you in your schools are fairly close to that, but some of you have put your emphasis on some other things. I'm not saying they're lesser or more important, but this is one of the indexes that presently we live with AdvancED. So we want you to design some plan that can be monitored from the district office and be reported on by the schools. And the spin-off of that adult advocate is this. You have children that are more acclimated to your district. They're more acclimated, therefore they come more, so attendance is up. They're more acclimated, therefore their academic gain is increasing. And because they come more and their academic gain is increasing, they tend to graduate more. So there's spin-off from this, and we're not asking you to hire a consultant. We're asking you to work in-house and come up with this. You're going to find a lot of positives that will spin off from this as you work with that program from elementary through the middle school into the high school. And I would challenge you to keep your data on that once it goes into play, and you'll find out what I've just told you, that is research-based, is true. Another improvement priority from Domain 1 is to develop and implement a systematic district-wide needs assessment protocol and training for all professional and instructional support staff that deals with interpreting, evaluating, and using data. Lesson plans nowadays must contain information about where the child is and where you want them to be, with a great emphasis on differentiation, which can only come from data study of individual children. But you also see in the newspaper clumped data that deal with the third grade in this district, or the fifth grade in some other district, or for that matter, a school grade, or to go even further, an institutional grade such as your county grade. All of that is based on numbers in one way or another. We find that you have done some professional development related to that, but there are banks of teachers that have not been trained, and also in our talking with your support staff. And I'm not saying our janitors, maids, grass cutters, cafeteria workers. I'm talking about those that are teachers' aides that work side by side with that teacher. We call them instructional support staff. That there was inappropriate training for them that could be enhanced, and as they work with that teacher, lesson plans could become more specific. And we're also encouraging our principals to make sure through PLC meetings and through examination of lesson plans that you see that each teacher is beginning to drill down and have very specific lesson plans to help those children with their academic growth. We feel that, along with the advisory system with the adult advocate, would pay great dividends to Domain 1. Well, what did we find when we went into classrooms? So we used the Elliott evaluation system, and that dealt with 7 different learning environments. And the AEN on the right-hand side is the average of the 32,000 schools and school systems that are a part of the AdvancED program, both in the United States and outside the United States. So I'm going to give you some wait time. Your numbers are there in the middle. Do you see something that is common for all of those numbers as compared to the AEN? First person to answer gets a day off tomorrow. Oh, I stepped out of turn, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do you see that they're all above the national average? So what we found in the classrooms using that instrument was the fact that you have learning and teaching and behavior and use of computers that excel the average. And we don't have a statistical process built into this to see if it is statistically important or not. But I would suspect, having taught those classes, looking at those numbers, there's enough difference between they and the average of 32,000 that probably all of those numbers are close to being significant. And so that's something that you need to be very proud about, in that you are carrying out, according to AdvancED, the world's largest accrediting agency, that your Elliott scores surpass the AEN average of the 32,000 that are members of that. So congratulations to you, to your principals, and I would like you to pass that on to your teachers, because that's what we saw as we visited 39 different classrooms at the elementary, middle, and high school yesterday morning. So then we move to Domain 2, which is leadership capacity. And this is the study of your mission and your vision and your outreach and your connection with the stakeholders and how well they work with you, and your governance and leadership from the school board, as well as your governance and leadership that you have at the schools with your principals. It's basically standard 1 and standard 2. Well, we have no findings from this domain. Now, that doesn't mean a bad thing. That means you were adequate in all of the areas. An adequate score was a 3. And so if you're having an audit of your accounts, if there's a no finding audit, well, that's a good thing because they didn't find anything to fuss about. And we found nothing to add to what you were doing. We think that you're carrying out your leadership from the board level, from the central office, from the schools, that the parents seem satisfied with the ability of you all to lead the school district from where it is to where you want to be in the years to come, and that you've been successful in taking the district from where it was to where it is now. I think one of those things to look around is you have a very beautiful boardroom here with lots of technology present, and it's available for use. I see the tables, and boy, these ladies tore down this room and had it all fixed up very quickly as we watched, because I didn't know what the way was they wanted to fix. They said, don't worry, we'll have it done in a minute, and they sure enough did. So you're doing an adequate job in Domain 2. Domain 3 is your resource utilization, and like I said, you never have enough money. So the process of all of that would be, how do you spend money? How do you dedicate money from here to here to here to keep pace with changing times, to keep pace with technology, to keep pace with repairs and so forth? And you'll see some long-range planning, and you have technology plans and all those things. And it's very important to have these plans because you don't want to sit around and wait till everything breaks and then you just declare, well, we don't have enough money to get it fixed. So it's important that you seriously consider resource utilization. So we had a powerful practice that came from that. It was 4.3. DCS maintains remarkable high-quality facilities, services, and equipment that clearly provide students with a safe, clean, healthy environment conducive to effective instructional practices, and that's 4.3. Your schools look very good. They're well kept. They're well maintained. I taught facilities for 10 years. I'm a bathroom freak, and I think that children ought to have as clean a bathroom as you have when you go to the mall or somewhere else. And so I deliberately went into a couple of bathrooms at your school and found them to be just immaculate. And so I think that's an important thing. When people visit your school and they drive by, they make a perception of you based on what that building looks like. And your building was built in '97. When I drive up, I try to, this is my 90th visit or thereabout, I try to in my mind figure that one was built in 1960, that one was built in 1990, and I had 2007 for your building. And I was 10 years off because it's been kept so well. So congratulations to you. And all of our other people talk too about the facilities and the ability to provide, I guess, the environment in which children learn. Because if the air doesn't work, and the windows are cracked, and the place looks pitiful and it smells bad, children will not learn as much. And I know that that's a connection that you have to believe as an educator, but I've never seen an astounding, top-of-the-line school that was in horrible condition. It all goes part and parcel. And you have the ingredients for having really good, as we call it, remarkable, high-quality facilities. So enjoy those facilities and keep your plans up to keep them well maintained. Well, we get to that number that comes, it's called the educational index, and that's the one that compares all of our votes on all of your indexes and all of your student performance material and all of your stakeholder performance material, and it goes into a computer program and it averages and it looks at and massages that data so that you get a comparison of your school district with the 32,000 others. Take a look. What do you see that's a common fact of the numbers in the middle, which are your numbers, compared with the AEN network average of the 32,000? They're bigger. They're larger. 305 to 278 and 300 to 268. I would say there's probably a great deal of significance in most of those numbers because you have 32,000 involved in the process, and the larger the number, the easier it is, the less it has to be a part in order for there to be a statistical significance. So if you look at those numbers, you see some very good things. Now, it's not an arithmetic average. You don't add those three numbers together and divide by 3 and you get the top number, because the teaching and learning impact has many more indexes than the leadership impact has, or the resource impact. So it's a weighted scale. So I usually stop here and I lecture everybody, the board included, because I can do it. Now, see, look at my card and leave. I really think your district needs to seriously consider some type of celebration to celebrate success. Your numbers are very good. We never know what those numbers are. So I would encourage you to send them money bags. I know you have limited funds, and I know you can spend those funds only on certain things. But here's the part that I teach in leadership, and I've taught that for 25 years. If you don't stop and smell the roses, why plant the garden? Okay, so you have a well-working county public school system. You have good leadership from the board, from the central office, from the leadership at the schools. You have good academic gain, you have good resource utilization, and you have harmony within your district. Now, if you don't celebrate in some way, form, or fashion, and one way or another, I'll find out about it, and I will not be pleased. Okay? So I want you to figure out what you might do either as a district or as a school, but all of your schools work together to do this. This is not just one particular area that contributed to that. It's a group effort, just like our report is a group effort, and we all put together over here our wording that will be in that 40-page report that you're going to get. But please find some way to celebrate success and then to enjoy your success. And this is really a joking slide because it indicates you're performing within acceptable ranges. Well, you are. You're pace setters. In my 90 visits, this is some of the top. And in my 90 visits, this is some of the biggest gains that I have seen in your technology utilization. So your public wonders, well, I'm paying for these things and they're buying all those computers. Well, how are they being used? Well, we're verifying to you as outsiders that those computers are being used. But I want you to understand the definition of use of those computers is not by the teachers, but by whom? The students. So thus you have a really good reason to keep that one-to-one initiative and to keep that money flowing in that direction. As I say, it's all how you spend that money, but you obviously are spending it in a way that gets you academic gain. Your children seem satisfied with the computers. They seem very comfortable with them, and even the little kids are picking up those things and moving them around. And so we know that they're utilizing computers to help them learn, not to replace the teacher, but to help them learn. So we get all dressed up when we come to work today, and we want to figure out, well, what is the recommendation of the committee? That's what we want to see, but if I told you that first, you might just leave. So there's our recommendation that the DeKalb County Central United School District, what a long name in Indiana, earn the distinction of accreditation by AdvancED for the next 5 years. I think you need to applaud yourselves. Congratulations to you all, and I think our team, I speak for our team when I do say that. So when we look at continuous improvement and what do you do with those IPs that we have written, you have 2 years to put those into place, and we were very skillful in what we selected that would not cost you money but would affect perhaps academic gain and would help student satisfaction with school, help them stay in school, and be better acclimated to what you would like to have them do. And also the adult advocate would help with that. So you have 2 years in order to work on that. So in conclusion, I didn't thank you so much for the hospitality, but they did. But it is, I've done these things before. And I think that it's a yeoman's job to set up hospitality for all these people. Just be thankful you didn't have a committee of 22.
You know what, don't point at me because Molly was like, you know, the coordinator, she just told me what to do and how to do it. Sandy and Albany and Sandy and Bert and everybody.
And I must tell you, we like her better than you because she brought her food. I told her that today. I said, you can come in any time. Lori gets to knock on the door.
So who do you think's driving you back to the airport?
Will be food involved too.
I did send some.
I think we've about spent all the money that gentleman's going to let us have. Thank you too for cutting loose a little bit and letting us have food and so forth. But I do appreciate your hospitality. You have a warm and friendly outlook. You reach out with hands to help people, strangers into your area. We didn't know each other. We've never met each other, but after we could get together and we talked about what was really hospitable for us, it all honed in on the same types of things. So we worked hard into the night each night after working in the daytime to put the report together. So I thank them again, but I do want you to know you're a very hospitable group. So if you look at these little creatures here, the janitors say, well, you know, if I could keep them out and on the playground, they wouldn't mess up the classrooms. But the classrooms are where they learn, and without them, we wouldn't have a job. You wouldn't have a job. We wouldn't need a superintendent and all that. So we do work to cater to those children because they'll be the hope of the future. And one of these days, we're going to get old, and we're going to step aside, and we want them to run the country, and we certainly want to maintain a good relationship with the world and to be the #1 nation in the world. There are a lot of ways for you to contact us through Twitter and all those other areas there, Facebook and so on. So if you have questions, those are ways in which you all may contact us. Thank you again, board members, and that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Across the state, so thank you. And we look forward to getting the full report and diving into that. We have an administrative retreat coming up early in June, and so I know we use pieces of what we've heard today.
And I promise you it'll be more than you ever wanted to know.
I'm sure. Thank you again, and thanks everyone for